there's something about that girl that brings out the preacher in me. And then she stops listening and starts swinging.
Well, I suppose that's understandable, considering what's happened to her brother.
That just closed her fist. I think there was someone or something a long time ago that made her start swinging out. I wish I knew what it was. Yeah, they say confession's good for the soul. I don't think that's exactly what they had in mind. Well, I'll be seeing you, Betty, when I make my rounds.
All right, Jerry.
Mr. Gehring, please report to physical therapy. Mr. Gehring, please report to physical therapy.
That seems to be everyone's problem recently. Everyone except you. You seem to be very organized. You're going to like working here. You'll really be involved.
Well, from what I've heard, it's very interesting.
Would you see Mr. Plunkett in room 45? He asked for you specially. Oh, Mrs. Fowler.
Sure.
Thank you so much for coming today. Mrs. Schuster.
Hello.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Now, if you have any questions, I'm always available, and I'm sure all the other ladies will be glad to help you. Now, you're in room 119, and you are in 67. Mrs. Fowler, you're in children's therapy, and Mrs. Schuster in room 257. Now, is anyone unhappy? Then let's go.
I think that I should change.
Yes, I'll show you where it is.
Thank you. What in heaven's name am I supposed to do with the 257?
Anything 257 wants. Read, talk, fix the flowers, just cheer him up. You're going to hear a lot of problems, but it'll make your own seem less gigantic.
Yes, I'm sure. Well, I hope 257 is a compulsive talker.
Marion, do you have a minute?
Certainly. The dressing room's right there.
Thank you. I'll change.
Well, I have a favor to ask you. You're working with Mr. Gehring and the children today, aren't you?
Yes.
Or would you take Constance Carson in with you? You did read about her daughter, didn't you?
Yes, it was terrible.
Well, Mrs. Carson's been here ever since the accident, and I'd like to get her mind on something else if we could. And I'd also like her to get a look at Mr. Gehring's work. When Allison comes out of the coma, this might be just the therapy she needs. And frankly, I'd like Mrs. Carson to know what can be done.
You mean the girl's going to pull through? The account in the newspaper...
Well, she's young. A young person can take a great deal. I'll talk to Constance and send her down in a few minutes. Is anything wrong?
No.
John all right?
Yes. You'll have to come for dinner next week.
Grace and I would love it.
Okay, champ, that's it.
Come on, Russ. I get more of a ride than that. I want to ride, too. You have to give me a ride. Your arms aren't strong enough. You can't ride.
But she can paint. She can paint better than I can.
But I want to ride, and I can ride, can't I?
No, honey, you can't right now. But we're gonna work hard so you can. If I remember correctly, just a short time ago you were so weak you couldn't even paint, Danny. Roll over, lazy bones. Roll over. Create me a blue horse in a bathtub full of soap suds. Okay, Michelangelo. You've still got at least 3 square feet to cover.
Can we go to your house sometime again?
3 guesses.
When?
Soon.
I'm painting a blue horse in a bath full of stuff. Come look.
Hello.
Hello.
Where's his tail?
It's under the water, dummy.
Of course.
Mrs. Fowler.
Mrs. Carson, I'm Marion Fowler. I met you in your shop once.
Oh, yes. Dr. Morton said it would be all right if I came in and watched.
Yes, of course. This is our physical therapist. Mr. Gehring, this is Mrs. Carson. She's come to observe.
How do you do?
He refused to put up the money.
He refused? Then you'll have to get it from someone else. You can't just walk away from it, Mr. Harrington. We've already filed the writ.
I'm afraid we'll have to forget it. For a while, at least.
We have to appear in court tomorrow. We can't just forget it. We have legally committed ourselves to post bail if the judge decides in our favor. We can't forget about that.
You're talking about a great deal of money, Stephen.
Well, you knew that when you gave us the go-ahead.
I don't know what to do. I don't know where to get it.
Yes? Are you sure he asked for me? Okay, put him on. Hello, Mr. Peyton. Yes, sir. That's correct, Mr. Peyton. Well, you understand, sir, that may involve 6 figures. Mr. Peyton wasn't very friendly, but
But he gave you the okay.
that's the way the old man operates.
He always was a man for economy. With that one phone call, he gave you a message, and he gave me a message, too.
The important thing is we got the money, Mr. Harrington. I think Rod is owed this information.
Of course, Stephen. I appreciate your attitude.
Gentlemen, afternoon. I see you got a break in the bail hearing. You mean Judge Clark? Yes.
If the judge decides in our favor, how soon can we get him out?
If the judge does decide in your favor, there'll be no delay. Rodney's very fortunate to have a father who can put up that kind of bail money.
Darling, dear, if we don't get to the garage, I'm not going to have the car for the rest of the week.
Well, I've had kind of a busy afternoon, Marion.
I know, but you said I'd neglect it.
Well, I'll drop it off right now.
All right, I'll follow you over there. We can go home together.
Fine. Excuse me, gentlemen. I seem to have further duties.
preview from the continuing story of Peyton Place.
Elizabeth Carson was my friend.
That's past.
Yeah, so let's sweep it under the rug. You must be getting good at that. You've had a lot of practice.
All they'll remember is Rodney Harrington, Martin Peyton's grandson, the boy whose father bought his way out of jail. If they don't remember, I'll remind them.
Maybe you can change the laws so that your son can get out of jail. But you can't change my father.